and some experiences that I've had. Because I know for me, the most personal stories, the experiences that people have had in real life are the ones that I relate to. So if you agree with that, let me know if you find that the most personal stories are the ones that motivate you the most when other people talk about their experiences and what's helped them. So here's the answer you've all been waiting for. Drum roll, please. And if you need me to adjust the camera, let me know, because I am blind and sometimes I set it up and then it's not quite the way I set it up before. So the most common reason that I feel people fail, including myself, especially myself, is for not trying. Now that may sound really obvious, but I think it's really a key point, the idea that there's so many things that I haven't tried that maybe I'd like to try, and by not trying, I am actually failing at all of those things. So I always ask myself, will I regret not trying it? So I'm a copywriter, a public relations professional. I really enjoy helping people get noticed and helping them share their stories and their passion with the world. And at some point, that was something I had to try. I had to try going out there and looking for clients instead of looking for jobs. That was something that I had to go out there and do. So when in doubt, I ask questions, and I ask, what sort of person would know the answer to this question? That's usually how I look at it. Because if I don't know about something, or if I'm feeling really uncertain, at least for me, I find the more knowledge I have about it, the safer I feel about trying it. So many of you might know about my skiing, that I feel really passionate about skiing today and about blind skiing. But there was a time that I was really afraid to try. And what turned it around is that I asked questions and I found people who could guide me through the process. And even before I made the leap of faith to travel to Vermont to go ski, I had to get with people who were like-minded, who were okay with skiing, people who'd tried it before, people who I could learn from, or at least who I could say, are they full of crap, or is there really something to this? So in the business world, that usually means finding your team, building your team, and that can certainly take time. What's helped me is being out there in the networking world, that there are people out there who I can call on, and people have called on me for things. I had someone the other day ask me about my experiences with Zoom, doing webinars, because they were thinking about doing them. Just these little things where we kind of get stuck. Sometimes I can ask questions just as part of a more casual conversation, and that's really important too. So, asking questions, building that team, and I want to find out from all of you what you think is the number one reason people fail. So, other times when I'm not talking to someone, or when I don't quite have the guts to ask my question, like, who am I to come up to this successful person and ask this question? I get to feeling like that. Any of you feel like that, where you feel like, oh boy, how do I pose this question to this successful person? So when I feel like that, I'll Google it, or I'll read a book, or even just a table of contents of a book, because sometimes I don't even know the questions I need to ask. And if I read a book about it, or read the table of contents of a book about it, then I can figure out what I actually need, and then I'm in a better position to actually ask good questions instead of just, hey, how do I do this thing? I don't know, I'm clueless. So at least I can go approach someone and say, oh, I'm confused about this part of the process, if that makes sense. So I run
3:05 p.m.
a Facebook Live every Wednesday at 3 p.m. It's all about getting noticed, and we talk about creativity and brainstorming tips and all of that. And I also run a webinar. My next one's going to be on December the 10th. You can go to wisewordsthatmatter.com/webinar to sign up for that. And I enjoy giving people ideas to try, helping people discover their own ideas that they can try out. Because a lot of times what I find is that clients know more about their customers than they give themselves credit for. Have you ever experienced that? For me, that's a really common experience where clients will be able to uncover a story about themselves or uncover a story about their customers. I was working with someone who realized that he actually had a story about starting his business that it's kind of like an American dream story, that his father was an immigrant and he was an apprentice in a business, and then he carried on the business to his son, who's my client. And so he had an inkling that this was a little story that he could share, but he didn't seem like he was as confident in it until I presented it to him that way. And he's like, oh, people have said that. Oh, yeah. And suddenly he had a different approach to it. All right, so thanks everyone for tuning in, and be sure to check out my Facebook Live videos every Wednesday at 3 p.m.